podcast is brought to you exclusively by the Rad Rob Radio Network.
This is PBA champion Kyle Troop, and you're listening to Straight Up 5 with Johnny Petraglia Jr. As you know, JP Jr. used to be introduced as the sexiest man in bowling, and now the world. But he doesn't have the best hair in the world. I do. Sorry, bud, but you know the deal. Pick it out. Fear the fro, baby.
Welcome to Straight Up 5 with Johnny Petraglia Jr. A hard-hitting, in-depth, cutting-edge look into the world of bowling. This podcast will not only cover all things bowling, but will also give you a raw look into real-life issues. You'll get unfettered access into the mind of one of the most gifted bowlers of this or any other generation. So without further ado, let's introduce you to the hosts of the show. Rad Rob Francois. Rad Rob Francois. Dr. Ocho. And the incomparable Johnny Petraglia Jr.
Hey guys, welcome back to Straight Up 5 with Johnny Petraglia Jr. This is episode number 76, and I am your host, Rad Rob Francois, joined by the man with the mask who's in a different room this week. I'm very curious to see where he is. He still has the largest guns on this show, and quite possibly in all of Ochoville. It is the one and only, your favorite, Dr. Ocho. Good evening, sir.
Same room.
No, that's really? No.
Same room. So I'm like the wind. I like JP. He likes to switch it up. I switch it up. You never know what you're going to get. Some days it's a sleeveless shirt. Other days it's a sleeveless shirt. You just never know.
Is that really the same room?
Same room.
Also joining us is the third man of the team. He is a man with a name on a marquee. He is number 7 in your hearts. He is number... No, I already
Makes
see.
no sense.
No, it doesn't. Well, I already blew that.
Well, you've been blowing a lot of things lately, Rob.
Here is the sexiest man in the world, Andy Dufresne. Good evening, Andy.
Oh, I hope you got out unscathed. Greatest movie ever.
What's up, Johnny?
Nothing much, guys. How we doing tonight?
Doing very well. How are you, man?
I'm doing just fine and dandy.
Well,
it's starting to get really hot out here in Vegas now. We're almost in the hundreds.
It's beginning to get fucking hot in Vegas.
It sure is. It's getting up there now, but still enjoyable. Just cooked some steaks before I got on with you guys, so that was
What
nice.
kind of steaks?
Oh, I don't know. They were thick and they were from Costco, but they were
that's fine.
They were on there for about 40 some odd minutes. 385. They were delicious.
Nice, very good. It's getting hot here too, but there's a lot of humidity here. So I know people say, "Oh, Vegas is a dry heat." Hot is fucking hot. I don't care what anybody says. Like 100 and something degrees is
Ain't
hot.
true. It's a big difference.
Come on, Ocho.
And the humidity is, and Ocho knows these things.
I know you're a doctor, but you're not a weather person.
I'm a weather doctor too.
It's totally different. I mean, I've
yes,
lived on
hot
the
is
East Coast
hot.
I mean, but it's a totally different kind of. I won't say it is because of the dry heat as much as people make fun of it, but like out here, you just don't sweat the way. Like when I would step out of the shower back home, and it was hot, like let's say it was 90 degrees. When I'm done drying, I already have beads of sweat coming out of my armpits.
The showers don't take here. The issue is
out here, it might actually stay dry.
Look, 100 degrees there is, I would take that over 85 and humidity here.
Oh,
that's
definitely.
how much a difference it is.
Yeah, it really is it's a completely different kind of heat. It's still fucking hot. Like for instance, even now, like I'm going to play golf tomorrow for the first time since last October, since the back injury.
Shit.
And we're teeing off at 8:30, and right around, I would say the 3-hour mark is going to be like the first test of, so next week I'll definitely have way more of a tan because that's my first day out, and the pool's warm enough now to actually go swimming. So
nice. Well, good.
And plus, it's legalized prostitution out there. So like
That's true.
Dry heat, nobody mentions anything. It's the best thing out there.
Definitely. I was just going to say my name reference here, Andy Dufresne, is because Andy was wrongfully imprisoned. And so are a lot of awesome bowling balls per the new PBA rules. And I'm
Oh,
pretty sure that there'll be people in the chat that have a lot of different ideas and feelings towards this. And I'm actually going to be more of an observer on this. I'll give my 10 cents here and there, but I'm very curious. If you guys are friends with Greg Tack online, or on Facebook, he made a beautiful. He wrote a beautiful letter to the PBA, basically asking them just to provide some information to make it all. And meanwhile, here we are a week after having Troy, the senior U.S. Open champion, on the show, and we were actually discussing this very thing, and bada bing, it pops up a week later.
Speaking of which, the champs in the house. Hello, Troy. Hello, Mike Jones, Jeff Cox,
Jason.
Kyle.
I'm not liking these people calling us gentlemen either. Like, this is I don't know if they listen to Straight Up 5, but we are not about that. Cut it out.
It's borderline. I mean, it just depends what mood we're in. Let's not waste any time. We're actually going to get into the imbecile of the week.
Oh,
well, wait a minute. Hang on. I don't know if you found somebody, but can I add an imbecile? Can I add an imbecile of the week?
Add an imbecile.
Add and imbecile, or add,
do you want to? If you want to do the imbecile intro first, go right ahead.
I just want to get the actual grammar correct. Is it add an imbecile
Add
or add
imbecile.
a imbecile?
Imbecile.
Are you sure?
It's an imbecile because imbecile starts with a vowel.
Add a imbecile.
That's really the rule.
Yeah,
I had
and N is added.
No, I had no idea.
If there is a Hi, Steph.
But I think he was trying to say something else. Yes,
you are an imbecile. Not you.
I am, because I didn't obviously know anything about it.
I thought you were being facetious, and that's terrible because I jokingly say that all the time. I'll even type. I'll type to quarantine lady I need a apple, and I'll type UH because I hate when people talk like that. He needs a axe to get over his tree problem.
Chris Wilson, hello. Yes, Russell, good evening. Okay. Who would you like to add to the imbecile of the week, Johnny?
The state of Iowa.
Okay. And the state of Iowa. Brilliant. I can't wait to hear
the entire state.
Well, at least
that's impressive.
It's time for everybody's favorite segment.
If you guys don't know how to use a seatbelt, just ring your call button and Tommy will come back there and hit you on the head with a tack hammer.
You know, Lloyd, just when I think you couldn't possibly be any dumber.
Here's the imbecile of the week.
Some people are really stupid.
Good evening, Russ. This week's
in the house.
imbecile of the week. Imbeciles of the week, actually. Hold on, let me put an S on that since I'm already being a grammar whore. The imbeciles of the week. First one's my opinion, but I'm sure a lot of people are going to say the same. The PBA and the entire state of Iowa. Everybody knows about the PBA thing, which we're going to get to in depth here, but I do want to know why you want to add the poor patrons of Iowa.
It must be a corn thing or something.
There's been this ongoing issue when a professional bowler, each state recognizes its own Hall of Fame for its bowlers that have either contributed service in years to their organizations and such. You know, they compete in, for instance, out here, if you compete in like 10 to 15 consecutive Nevada State Masters events, you bowl, you're basically a local hero in the bowling community, is what you are. And the problem is a lot of professional bowlers don't get to compete in all those events because they're out, earning their livings out on the PBA tour. And a lot of times what happens is a bowler that is more than capable or should 100% be a member of their state's bowling Hall of Fame gets the snub. And they get the snub for what I just said. They just don't have enough time, tenure, whatever the fuck you want to call it. And a lot of the professional guys get fucked. And here we have Urbandale, the state of Iowa's greatest bowler, a PBA national major champion, a multiple-time PBA senior masters champion, one of the voices of Bowl TV, just a great fucking man and I'm talking about Tom Hess.
Right.
And every year goes by, and when the election committee gets together, another year passes by, and Tom Hess is not an Iowa State Hall of Famer. Tom Hess could eventually be a PBA Hall of Famer at some point. So I think that it's not the entire state of Iowa, but whatever election committee, and I'm assuming other people get snubbed from other states. This was just one that was up front and center for me. So I wanted to say fuck you, Iowa, for snubbing Tom Hess again. You guys suck.
All right. I mean, that's fair. Tom Hess is great. I mean, I'm a big Tom Hess fan. I know Ocho is as well.
I love the trucks.
I used to get one every Christmas.
No, they are great. They are great.
Okay, certain
The football team that he owned, not so much.
No. That's true. No, you're right about that, Johnny, and it doesn't make sense. But what actual Hall of Fame in any sport makes sense, right? I mean, you could say the same thing about baseball and football and well, I mean, nobody talks about hockey. How come nobody talks about the Hockey Hall of Fame? How come no one's like, oh man, I can't believe Pierre Turgeon got fucking snubbed?
That's a great, you only really hear about the massive guys like Henrik Lundqvist or Gretzky, Jaromir Jagr.
Well, Dale Hunter didn't wreck him in the 93 playoffs. You know, they would have, maybe he would have had those extra points to get over the hump, that Pierre Turgeon.
I'm going to take your word on that.
Ocho
knows. It was actually the biggest suspension in NHL history at the time, 23 games, I think.
What's up, Derek?
Right. No,
in the playoffs after a goal. Was he on the Capitals, I think? Hunter?
I think so.
And then the Islanders went and upset the Penguins who had won back-to-back. They were favorites to win. They upset the Rangers, who had won the President's Trophy in Messier's first year in New York. And Adam Graves breaks freaking Lemieux's wrist on a slash. And then Pittsburgh comes back, wins 4-2. And then they lose to the Isles 4-2. Glenn Healy, stud Glenn Healy in the circle.
This fucking guy.
Anyways, I never saw it. I wasn't there.
Legend Ian Lang in the house. What's up? And now just looking at the chat, now we have Ian, Troy, and Rad Rob. So I'm now the 4th best lefty on this show.
Uh-oh.
This is good. You just keep on going down.
And I'm going to get better if I get that new.
You'll stay top 10 by the end of the show, though. Don't worry.
By the way, real quick, just to defeat off the Tom Hess thing, what Steph just said, Hutch is Joe Hutchinson, another PBA champion. And he's like, Jesus, I think Hutch is my dad's age. And what's up, Kevbo? But that's another guy. And she said that he just got inducted this year. Joe was a Hall of Famer in like 1980.
Yeah.
I mean, that's crazy, but thank God they eventually got him in. But holy shit, God, that's crazy to think that, because he was a local legend while he was also bowling on tour. So that doesn't really make much sense to me either.
Well, what else doesn't make sense? Well, I mean, it does make sense depending on which side of the fence you are. Is the PBA coming out, which everyone's talking about it, coming out with their 2023 hardness report. And just the fact we're talking about hardness and purple hammers, I mean, Ocho, there's got to be a joke in there somewhere.
I'm curious what people in the chat have to say about it. It's obviously, so what are they saying now? It's got to be labeled like currently the equipment for next year has got to be past a certain date in 2022 in order to be considered legal. And they're considering raising the hardness to say a 78 standard over a 73.
Correct. No ball can be manufactured on or after 8/1/2022. That will ensure that all the balls on the national tour will be made at a minimum of 73 hardness.
You know,
are they keeping it at that year, or each year are they going to the next year though? Like, are they? You know what I'm saying? Are they bringing the year up with it, or are they keeping that year 2022 and then it stays at 2022, and then the subsequent years can, or they're going to change it again in 5 fucking years anyway.
Well, that'll most likely happen, but you're correct, Doge. They have to change it. So, like this coming season, the 2024 season, it will have to be manufactured after a certain date in 22, and then so on and so forth. Which was one of the comments in what Greg said. Because here's the thing: I'll give a couple comparisons here, and then I want you guys to feed off this, because again, I'm teetering here because this fucks people like, I mean, I'm just going to say it. This could screw certain bowlers. It could. But the thing about it is it's kind of screwing the future of the sport indefinitely. Let me make this comparison. When you play college baseball, they use metal bats, right? And then you have to learn how to use wooden bats once you make it to either single, double, AAA, and obviously the majors, right? So you really have to be a stud in the metal bat baseball world in order to be a stud when you go to wood, because you're taking a tool away that makes the game a lot simpler in that respect once you get away from the metal bats. What I think the problem of the timing of this is, is for the aspiring youth. Jason Belmonte has spawned an entire generation of two-handers, and Urethane has contributed to a lot of the way the game is played now. So let's say you take these kids now, they're in the ages of, say, between, I don't know, 10 years old and like 18, 19, getting to the point where they're considering going to college or try the tour or the TQRs. Their entire lives, they've been born and bred to play the urethane game, to play the instant hook at the foul line with the slowing down motion down lane. These kids now, all of a sudden, it's you're ripping all of their aspirations out by eliminating the tools that they've grown up learning how to use. And I think that it's so shitty for the young. I think the guys on tour will manage to adapt, especially the successful guys on tour, because they have the backing of the ball manufacturers. They can get balls at free will. But other people trying to make it out there that aren't contracted, I mean, shit, if you show up to a tournament now and they announce that your ball is too soft, they take it and confiscate it, and then you got to pay for a new one. It's not like you can just go out to the truck because a lot of these guys are not contracted. So it also inhibits a lot of bowlers in the financial aspect, I think. And do I understand that one manufacturer happens to have the only ball in bowling history that has ever been the center of attention when it comes to banning equipment? There were balls that we knew, yeah, okay, if they were soft, or there was, oh shit, when the Excalibur came out, but they never, anything other than the LT48, the rubber one, or like, let's say a blue dot, but there was never really a bowling ball that outperformed every other piece to a point that they actually want to take it off of the market. And this is a very, very, we're talking about the Purple Hammer, and this has been an ongoing thing. We spoke with Troy. We've seen Sean Rash's comments about integrity in the past about it. We've seen what the ball does to the sport and what it does for a lot of bowlers. So I'm curious. I know it was a little bit long of a rant there, and I'm sorry for that. Hi, Taryn. Good to see you. And what do you guys think about this? Because, again, this is only at the PBA level. The regional tour, this is all that kind of stuff. So this is not like you could still go bowl your leagues. You can go to USBC championships and still use your regular stuff. But this is for, you're now telling the aspiring batch of bowlers that are trying to come out on tour, oh, by the way, guys, everything you've learned for the last 10 years of your life, don't worry about that because you can't do that anymore.
Well, JP, to take your example with baseball, then, I mean, there's no data, I don't think, to say that the ball is too good. You know what I mean? Like, they outperform. I get it. People use it. It's more popular. But, like, I feel like it would almost be like saying, okay, you're now allowed to use aluminum bats in the majors and then taking aluminum bats away. I'm trying to think of another comparison. It's not a shot against the bowling ball. Did they make the bowling ball too good? Is that a possible thing? I'm talking amateurs thinking, you know what I mean? Because I don't know the specs of it.
It's a bowling ball that can be used by any person at any time on virtually any oil pattern. There is never a time that ball is not in play.
Why hasn't this happened before?
I don't really know.
I mean, that's the,
my dogs are chasing.
He doesn't know either. He's pissed off. But so I'm trying to look at it from is it too good? It's under all the specs. We get that. Almost like as if the seams were a little too high on the Major League Baseball. And now these pitchers get such a good grip that they're throwing their spin rates through the roof. And then they say, shoot, let's bring the seams down a little bit again. And I'm trying to cross-sport it too, to give an example of what it would be like if it was a different sport and what anomaly they'd have if something was literally too good for people to use. Or I guess steroids might be the anomaly in baseball.
And here's the thing. Most of the people that have success on the national tour that throw urethane have higher rev rates. Now, that's not to say guys that don't have higher rev rates aren't. Darren Tang is one of the best bowlers I've ever seen with urethane. He's obviously a way different bowler than a Simo or a Belmo, right? Russ brought up a good one there. Maybe a belly putter. Is that what you were going?
Kind of right, maybe like that. Like we're something. You have an anchor now.
But
It's
my
not. It's
yeah, I guess what I'm trying to say here is, if let's say they increase the specs to say 78 hardness, I think that would be awesome. I don't, because urethane, if anything, at a higher hardness level would go a little bit straighter, wouldn't it? It wouldn't chug as much. Maybe, I mean, I personally, I hope they make the hardness level 78 for all balls, because then
so
I
for the
may
higher
actually
rev rate
be
guy,
able to throw resin,
it keeps you more in play with the higher rev rate guy. Also, then still right keeps you from
Yeah.
it's still, now it won't overhook ever.
A lot of people are making good comments over here. Number one, I like what Troy said about it's time to be more old school and hit what you're looking at more, because yes, balls like the Purple Hammer and the Pitch Black. Let's not forget about the Pitch Black.
I was going to say the Pitch Black. I mean,
it doesn't have as many. It hasn't been called into question as many times as the Purple Hammer. The old purples, the new purples,
But
Hopkinsville. It doesn't matter where they're being forged.
Troop is winning with the Pitch Black, obviously.
Belmo wins with. I mean,
Right.
it's another fantastic urethane ball. Here's where it gets sketchy, though. I don't. And going to JD's comment, I don't know that the Purple Hammer softens more than any other ball. Some people try and say it does. Other people say it doesn't.
That's what I was talking about with the data too. Like there isn't official data that says here's why it shouldn't be used.
Right.
Besides,
they say after 10 uses that the ball drops that much in softness or hardness.
And now again, I'm feeding off comments here, because going to Jeff now. Jeff says, do you think maybe Storm Products may have complained that the balls of Brunswick are better and their staffers can't compete?
Actually, read a bunch of comments there too. That's a good idea.
That's what we thought when we brought this up months ago, right? I mean, when the USBC did their own thing.
But that fits in with what Jason said. The Pitch Blacks have won more titles than the Purple Hammers. They have. And that's what I guess I don't understand is it's not like Storm doesn't have a good urethane piece. They've had several good urethane pieces, and they still have one. But it was a lot of the Storm staffers that were the most vocal about it and bigger guns in the bowling industry. So that could very well have something to do with it.
Can I make an observation?
Yeah, please.
And nothing against Troy or Packy or any guys like that, but we wouldn't see that many lefties up there if there wasn't the Purple Hammer.
Well, I'm very interested to see what happens now when it's not there.
Right.
Because if we can't use a Purple Hammer, it goes back to that. There's going to be weeks that lefties whack them, and there's going to be weeks that lefties don't whack them.
Depending on the pattern, right?
Especially now, because they've gotten so advanced with the oil conditions and the offsetting of the patterns and where they put the speed bumps.
Right.
We'll go back to the Mike Scroggins, Chris Hayden era, Rick Lawrence. You'll need to literally throw the ball at the head pin with as little rev rate as possible, seemingly. Another guy that Russ just brought up. Now, granted, Jacob's a sensational player, and that's the thing that you're missing with all these. These are all sensational lefties. Jason Couch didn't just wake up 5 years ago and say, I'm going to throw Purple Hammers and be this great senior player. Jason Couch kicked everybody's ass with resin for 20 fucking years.
True.
The Purple Hammer, what it does is it allows bowlers to relax. And when you relax and you can stay in stroke, you throw more strikes.
Right.
And because there's less traffic on the left side of the lane, we only have to deal with, if anything, maybe one other guy's carry down. And because we can predominantly throw Purple Hammers on anything, we pretty much know the tendencies, which is why we drill 3 or 4 of them now to fill those voids when they happen, when they come around. And again, I'm not making comments about guys like Hayden and Lawrence and Scroggins not being grade A players. But what I am flat out saying is that if this does happen, their games now become way better than games of Jesper, Butters. You'll see Ryan Simonelli make some shows again. Parker, I think, will actually start bowling a little bit better, even on the regular tour. And there's a lot of things that can happen, but I honestly don't know. The last thing I wanted to say about the urethane is what happens with Motive, because Motive makes urethane and calls it microcell polymer. There may be some different additive chemicals in there, but the base is still urethane. The base of the bowling ball is still something that's in question. Does that mean you eliminate all of the Motive tanks? Do you eliminate? They would all have to go. You can't. And if they turn around and they figure out a way to say that only the Purple Hammer gets extinct, then I've lost as much respect for the PBA as I would already have the USBC.
Well, Jeff Skiers mentioned earlier that the Swag Buffalo urethane has an 81 hardness, and a lot of people in the threads and everything in the Facebook groups are saying the same thing, that may be the only ball that's that hard. And we don't have data on that ball because I don't think that many people use it to know if the hardness drops after a certain amount of uses. Same with the pitch black or any other urethane ball. What are the stats on those balls? That's what I want to know.
Yeah, for sure.
Motive tanks are on the list of urethane. Like, yeah. Urethane like. Explain that one too. Because they made that part of the rule, as we see down below. Urethane like.
Yeah, so like urethane like, microcell polymer is Motive's pitch. It's their branding of their product to differentiate it from a standard urethane. It still rolls like a urethane ball because that's what it is. But it's just, yeah, I saw JR's video on that Buffalo, by the way. And like I said, I just think that personally, I just think that it's people walking through the woods with axes and like flames and shit on torches, just trying to get this. The people that can't throw the purple hammer have to hate the purple hammer. I hated the purple hammer before Brunswick acquired hammer and ebonite. I hated it because I couldn't throw it. The first ball I drilled when I was allowed to drill their products, I actually begged my rep to allow me to drill a 2018, 2019 purple hammer and you had
told us this also. So this is not a lie. He's not telling it for this story. He had actually mentioned this about 5 months ago on a different show. So this is a full truth and unfettered.
John, good to see you. I believe if Shannon Pluhowski won this year, that she was throwing a purple hammer. Or even if she finished second, I know she was throwing it on the show. I don't know if she won. I haven't seen any ladies win with a pitch black. It's a different game out on the ladies tour. It's first off, they're all. I'm saying this because they're smarter than the men. In other words, their physical games and what they do, they're always very close to each other. You don't usually have one chunk of people trying to play in while a chunk are trying to play the gutter. The women are typically more sound. They have lower rev rates. They have gentler ball speeds. They don't really need urethane.
They all have the same area of play that they need to, because they're not going to be as successful if they're trying to swing it when the pattern calls for playing it around 10 or something like that.
Right. It's rare to see women like, say, Jordan Richard, or the ones that get, or Brianna Clemmer, that really get on at the bottom. But yeah, they're like, when Michelle Feldman was out there, she was the only one that did it. I mean, the closest one to hooking it like Michelle Feldman was Leanne Barrett, now Leanne Hulsenberg. Like but most of them are traditional track players, gutter players. You like Danielle McEwen, like Maria Rodriguez, like Clara Guerrero. And they're always somewhere in the same zone doing virtually the same thing. And they construct lanes a little bit better than the men. Men have gotten better at it. You don't see as many guys going out to left field while the other guys are still trying to play, say 15. Chaco, yeah, I can't, again, man, I can't think of anybody, to tell you the truth. That was a great question. But
Johnny, do you want me to read
Chris did confirm that Shannon did win. So thank you, Chris.
Do you want me to read the statement from Brunswick?
So you mean, yeah, it's all over social media, so you can share. This was sent out to the Brunswick staffers and Lou. Actually, I don't know if we're allowed to share.
Maybe do the PBA one and that's it, and then like that's kind of like, that was to you, right? I didn't want to jump in, but that was.
It does say to our friends in the bowling community, so I don't know if it was a public press release or not.
Well, it was sent directly to us.
Thank you.
But basically, I mean, it's already. I mean, I got it off of Facebook. I just can't remember if it was in a private chat or not. Steph, we're not. So stop. Okay, yeah, we can't read this one.
Okay, just want to make sure.
I just got saved by my best friend. Okay,
good.
Basically, all I'll tell you is it's in response to, in lieu of what's about to happen. It was just kind of what a family does, just kind of protecting and keeping us aware of what could be in lieu and what could be happening. So but the PBA one is an awfully long read.
Yeah, no, I don't want
to. But there's what I did like about the PBA's post is, like, what I don't like about the USBC is they were at least diligent. They took their time to put together their press release. They tried to cover every single base about it. They tried to offer a variety of different options of what they can or can't do. Like, do we ban them all? Do we make the hardness limit 78 for everything? Do we do this? Do we grandfather in? They tried to give and paint every single scenario they possibly could. And I thought that was admirable. I thought that was cool. I don't like the basis of it. I mean, how can I like it? I'm a lefty that doesn't use my thumb. So now, like, my play is, okay, so if they take that away, maybe I just drill a bunch of spies. I'll go into dad's garage, drill some more rubber LTs, or like, because those are not urethane at all, right? So maybe I can try and do the same thing with those bowling balls.
Did you see Butters' post today? He had a picture of a spy with like a 100 pad he's going to hit it with. It was pretty funny.
That's already, I'm telling you right now, that's what everybody is already thinking. They're all trying to figure out how to create the same motion. You'll see Jesper Svensson throwing a lot more plastic. You'll see. And again, it's going to alter the game again completely.
Crown Jewel coming back. Crown Jewel's going to be a strike ball.
Yeah.
I love that ball. I really do. It's like, to me, the fact that it's only the national tour is cool, right? As long as it doesn't go into the senior tour or, the regional tour. Then you're going to affect a lot of people that wouldn't.
It is in the regional tour, Rob.
I thought they said national tour only.
No, national, PBA 50 and standard. And
really?
Yeah, this is not that was the whole thing when I said earlier about Greg Tack. Greg Tack has a full-time job. He bowls a couple tour stops. He bowls the World Series. He bowls a regional every single weekend. He's one of those guys. Hi, Sherry. He's one of those guys that is not staffed. He's one of the guys that is aspiring to be out there a little bit more. And it's gonna cost him a lot more money because you have to renew your equipment every single year now, or every 2 years now. And if you're a bowler that pays for bowling balls, that ain't no chicken feed. I mean, nowadays, if you got an interchangeable thumb hole grips and you buy the high end ball on the wall, even if you get a discount, you're looking upwards of $250 now. And on tour, you need 10, 12 bowling balls at all times. We are a white collar monetary sport that only pays blue collar. Like, at least in golf, when you have to go out and buy a $500 driver, not only does it last for a year longer if you love it, but like, you get your golf is an expensive sport that if you make it to the pinnacle, you're a millionaire.
Right.
At least like the risk.
You can buy a few more drivers at least. You don't have to worry about it.
I mean, a regional, if you go and you win a regional, it pays you $1,500 after you subtract food and where you stayed for the 2 days in fucking mid-county Delaware, or wherever the hell it is that you're in. How much money are you really making?
Even the Nike tour pays like $100,000. What is it called? Remember it was called the buy.com tour, then it was the Nike tour, it's like the regionals for golf. It's like no clue, huh? Nobody.
Oh, you're talking to me?
Yeah.
Anybody? No.
Say it again. I wasn't listening.
What is it called? Like the golf? Because I'm saying, like, at least even like
the Nike tour.
Is it still called the Nike tour? So I think they pay $90,000 or $100,000 for a winner, and if you win 3 straight tournaments, you bounce up to you get an exemption tour.
What Ruff said, so it used to be, I think it was the Nike tour is not the Corn Ferry tour used to be called something different. Like
it was the buy.com tour, something like that originally.
Yeah, there was a name before the Corn Ferry that they used, but the Nike tour also. That's not, and I know they think they changed the Champions Tour is no longer called the Champions Tour for the seniors, if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, the minor
call it
league,
a clever name like PBA or PGA 50, did they? Sorry, man. I hate that freaking name.
Web.com tour. Thank you, man. She's all over it, and nationwide too. Everybody's all over it today. This is fantastic.
Nationwide is
everybody but me. Apparently, I got confused when I read the end of the report saying that the manufacture date would only be on the national tour. I thought that's what this whole thing applied to. I wasn't aware that it was the entire branch of the PBA. Does that mean the PBA leagues too for?
No, like you can still go bowl league with your shit. You can go bowl even the league bowler championships that's being contested right now. You can still use it in that, and you can still use it at USBCs. But tour, regional tour, anything PBA related, you have to abide by whatever rules they set forth and whatever they finally land on in their final decision.
So, what about the USBC Nationals, which is like, isn't that part PBA, part USB-C? Is like a joint?
No, that's one of the ones I said you could. They said you could still use it at. You could still use your stuff there. So
confusing, and that might change too as the year goes, as next year comes.
Yeah.
So I mean,
again, man, it is a ball that has changed lives for better and for worse.
Yeah.
For a lot of guys, they feel the Purple Hammer takes a check away from them every week because there's
the ones who use it, it's for better, and the ones who don't, it's for the worse. That's very true.
Every week at every tournament, there's at least 4 to 5 guys that are now getting a check or making a final that somebody else used to be getting. It does. I see it every single week. There's some bowlers that I look at and I say, I mean, this guy sucks. And he's fucking out averaging guys that don't suck. I mean, nobody sucks on tour, but
nobody sucks.
Bowling,
but
in bowling, it's a little different because some people actually do suck at the pro level.
Well, I mean, I don't want you to throw him under the bus. I mean, Packy Henderson is a great bowler, but I mean, would he have the same success this year if he didn't have the hammer?
I honestly, Packy, I think will have the most success of anybody with the transition. I think that Packy wants nothing more than to throw resin. I don't think Packy wants to be throwing urethane. Packy likes to hit it. He's clean. He's long. He can throw it hard. And the kid likes to throw resin. We all like to throw resin, Rob. It's not, we do not want.
No, that's right. These guys want to shape the ball, right? Yeah. Like Troy was saying just last week. The guys they want to open. They want to see the lane. They want to. I don't know if it's called open or whatever, but it's to shape the ball. Whereas if you're over there near the gutter, you're so jammed up.
Yeah.
No, true. Well, then
what was funny? What did I just miss?
I just read who's comment.
Who would it affect the most then, would you say? Just throwing a few names out there.
Well, it's going to affect the people that predominantly throw urethane. I don't.
No shit.
It's that win outstandingly with urethane.
Okay.
Jacob is at the top almost every week. Dom Barrett loves throwing urethane. Obviously Packy, Jesper, and these are mostly lefties, but there are a lot of righties that start every single event with urethane. Guys, we just watched the PBA Tour Finals. EJ is the only one that threw fucking resin on the show. Everybody's talking about what a great show was. I'm like, does anybody want to see a ball that makes a slightly different motion?
Yeah.
I mean, at least Belmo threw the IQ for a little while on the show, but it looks like a fucking urethane ball going down the lane. So even that wasn't fun. But
EJ's so good, dude. EJ can just, I mean, to pick a venom and he'll just fucking throw it. He doesn't care. Like he's that good.
Yeah. Well, again, it's not lefty specific. I personally believe it is a targeted execution of a product because at some level, at some point in the higher up offices, they had to say, is this helping or hurting our sport? Because it was certainly fucking helping Brunswick and the brands of Brunswick, and it was certainly helping guys get out there and be able to make something of themselves. It definitely softens up the game, but you can't tell me that everybody in the world is having success with a ball that's too soft. It's just not. If maybe it starts and gets too soft at some point, fine, keep doing the 2 year. But I personally don't think there's a reason to up the hardness and tell everybody they need to be within the 2 years of the production date. Do one or the other.
Yeah.
It's because if a ball tests, let's say a ball tests 73 hardness and then you throw 400 games on it, that hardness level of that ball, of any ball, is going to be softer, right? To some extent. So over the course of, say, 400 games, if that hardness level drops from 73 to 71, how many guys throw a ball for 400 games at the pinnacle level? Nobody. And if they do, they only have one or two.
Yeah, they get new stuff every year anyway, too, for the most. At least
every month, really. I mean, yeah.
Right.
What Leon and Sherry are talking about over here, the very few times I've seen Jesper throw resin, he doesn't bowl bad, but he looks normal, if that makes any sense.
Right.
Because
he
doesn't
look all world, is what you're saying.
Right. When Jesper throws urethane,
when
Jesper throws urethane, you're confused when he doesn't strike. When Jesper throws resin, he doesn't look very confident that it's going to strike, and it's visible. He makes a lot of bad shots because A left-hander's bowling ball in these most recent years of the game does not cater to guys that give away the pocket at all. And it's that's who I think would be impacted the most already, simply because he hasn't been as dominant these past few years as he was a few years ago.
Terry, yes, you did.
We were watching Jesper on virtually every show 3 or 4 years ago. I haven't seen as much of him now.
True. It's a good point.
So,
in this day and age, Johnny, with the technology that all the bowling companies have, why can't anybody else make a ball as good as the Purple Hammer? You can't tell me nobody can replicate that same.
Isn't that amazing?
It's a top secret, like KFC spices or whatever.
Well, that's
like
what I was talking about. Is this the big red wiffle bat? Is this literally like, did they do something so revolutionary, unintentionally or intentionally, that because they're still in spec mode, they're still in it's still in the scope of what they're allowed to do.
I have said this from day one, and I really, really mean this. I was always a fan of balls that were smooth. I like when balls transition gently, because on the left side of the lane, you do not want angularity, right?
Right.
All of the old school bowling balls, I'm going back to Quantums, the original Teal Rhino, all of those bowling balls were two-piece bowling balls. They had a core, and then the cover got poured onto the core to the exterior of the bowling ball. So for anybody that's ever drilled a ball, typically when you drill into a ball, the first 1/4 inch to, we'll call it 7/16 of an inch, is the outer shell. And then there's the filler material inside of it, and then the core itself. So most high-performance bowling balls, I'll take the new Katana Strike and the Storm Summit just to bring out two different ones here. If you drill into those bowling balls, the exterior of that ball, the shell, is about that 5/16 to 3/8 inch thickness. The Purple Hammer is designed the way that all the old school balls were. They're two pieces. It is core and it is shell. I have always been a fan when you only pour core and shell, because it takes away angularity from the ball. The ball hugs the lane. The ball wants to be in this nice tight fitting zone that it's comfortable in. And of everyone I can think of a pitch black, the fever pitch, the pitch blue, the pitch purple, the pitch onyx, the pitch vibranium, whatever, how many pitches they have. And then even the double cross from Radical, or any of the tanks, they are not designed that way. And that is amazing to me that nobody has at least even tried to pour a two-piece urethane ball from another company. That is one that is really good. That, I think if they tried that, at least that's at least one thing that would level out the playing field. But that's the nature of this world, man. If somebody's got a product that is better than yours, people, instead of trying to make their product just as good, they go out and they try and make the other fucking better product disappear. It's gross.
Yeah, it is.
And now, in the midst of trying to cater to their own agenda, like I said earlier, they're wiping out an entire generation that has grown up and learned in the most important years of their life in this sport. To, like, Justin Bone is just ahead of the curve. Like, if Justin Bone was 8 years younger than he is right now with his talent, oh, Justin, by the way, now you have aspirations to go out and bowl on tour, and you bowl in the Masters and all this shit. By the way, these 19 bowling balls you've been having success with, put them all away. You can't bring them anymore. Those are the people I feel the worst for. At least we have a younger generation that likes bowling because of Belmo and the two-handed revolution, and a lot of that is tied in with urethane pieces. So to eliminate them and eliminate an entire generation of knowledge and growing up and learning this fucking game is just disgusting.
Would any of this make a difference if Belmo, Tackett, Simo, Troop all switched to Brunswick and started their own Purple Hammers?
No, because all those guys you just said, I don't think they may pass judgment or like how they feel about it, but none of those guys are not tasting success.
True.
We watched the.
What are they going to? They're going to win 90% instead of 70%.
Yeah, the 8 guys that were in the PBA Tour Finals, there was only one lefty in there, and he was
up there,
and he had the worst fucking look on the pair. Now imagine Jacob Buttriff going out there, and he's not allowed to throw a ball that blends the pattern.
Right.
What's Jacob going to do? He doesn't have one person there to help him move any oil.
True.
And the other 7 guys, along with Jacob, those guys have collected $3 million in earnings over the last 2 seasons.
Yeah.
And The problem is people who are past their prime, who still believe and have that, 40-year-old ego that I have for sure, where we still think we're better than the young kids, still think our way is better than theirs. And they're crybabies, and they've done enough while they were the highlight of the PBA tour. And I'm not, it's no secret the number one person who has the biggest problem with it. And one of the reasons why I think he has one of the biggest problems with it is because he ain't on our fucking staff anymore. And I would be pissed off too if I left on
Sean or
yes. And I would.
I didn't even know that, dude. I'm sorry. I didn't even know.
Obviously you did.
No, when you just said he's not on our staff anymore, I didn't know that part.
No, he's been with he went to 900 Global. When Barnes got the massive contract from Columbia, there was talk. I'm not going to go into anybody's personal details, but there was talk of changing his contract, and we simply couldn't do it, or they simply couldn't do it. And that was when, well, I guess I'll go with my Wichita buddy over to 900 Global because he'll be on the senior tour soon, and I could be the big fish there, rather than being in the sea of all the kind of big fish with the Brands of Brunswick.
You had a little Macho Man Randy Savage when you did that, by the way.
Oh, yeah.
In the sea of big fish, and you're on the PBA tour. You're lust in her eyes, and I love the purple hammer. Depends on where it is.
Right. But yeah, I think it's a witch hunt. I do understand that. Again, we've never ever had a bowling ball that is this.
This is unprecedented, though, too. I mean, really, like, there's the fallout could be kind of fun to see what's going on. And
you think about it, Oach. Think about the amounts of bowling balls that come out every single year.
Hundreds that no one even knows of.
Hundreds.
And there's one.
We come out with 70 a year. There are so many, but you're right. Yeah, there's hundreds of bowling balls.
Hundreds upon hundreds, I guess I should have said. And one, it's almost like you got one is so many light years ahead, and then even the second bowling ball, it's like a guy averaging 230, and the next person's averaging, and the rest of the field is like averaging 190 and below.
Right.
That's the purple hammer versus all those bowling balls, and they're teetering. Exactly. 2 through fucking 100 is very close. Mm-hmm. And then boom, you got the one dude on top. Like me.
Yep. Exactly.
Well, let's switch gears because I mean there's not much else we can really say about that. Let's
on her chin
quickly talk about the PBA finals that I had no idea was being televised on CBS Sports Network the entire day of Saturday. Because
I thought tour was over. Hold on, wait. There was a show.
This was This was all the major winners and the top 8 in points that bowled. In
2 months after the last event, so I can see why you're confused, though, Joe.
Shit.
Yeah, and the PBA does such a great job of promoting their events that I had no idea the whole thing was being televised. Because last I looked on their website, they did not show where it was going to be televised, and I happened to be just flicking through the channels on Saturday, waiting for the
Popeyes.
Fuck you. Waiting for the 4:00 golf squad to come on at the Travelers, and I saw bowling, and I'm like, "What the fuck is this?" And it was the entire, finals.
Wait, it was on network television.
CBS Sports Network.
Oh, okay, all right. Well, I mean, that's close enough. That's not a bad gig.
No, and it was on for like 6 hours. I mean, it was fun to watch all of it. Which
it was some fun. It was.
So CBS, what did they do? Okay, well, because they're usually on Fox, and do they have the Tracer gimmick and all that, or did they have?
Yeah, pretty much. Not as much lane talk stuff. Obviously, I don't know if they
were
have
at
Fox, but,
Angel of the Winds Casino in Washington.
Yes, and
you could watch it. It's already on YouTube, I think.
Yes, it was fun to watch. They had Randy and what's his nuts there, Dave.
Dave Ryan.
Dave Ryan, which I think I said Dave Brown in our chat. I don't even know who the fuck Dave Brown is.
I like Dave.
Dave Ryan's good.
Dave Ryan's very good.
Feet to success guy.
Yes.
We could do without that, but everything else is good.
Yeah. I thought they did a good job, actually. I like CBS Sports presentation a little bit better than Fox. It wasn't as glamorous and glitzy and all that, but there was way less mistakes, and I didn't see any camera faux pas or anything like that. So I thought CBS did a really good job of presenting the sport. I wish they would get more.
And kudos to Randy and Dave, because that's a long day sitting in the booth, and
you ain't lying.
And that's you get to have to be focused for that long on exactly everything that's going on. It's like, that's a long day. That's how I
Unfortunately,
feel about those guys in the Bull TV booth too.
Unfortunately,
Why
Kimberly
every
Pressler,
week?
she was not there.
Hello.
So unfortunately, we
You
missed
sounded
her.
like Mrs. Doubtfire the way you just said
Help
that.
is on the way, Dave.
We
Real
have to
quick.
sit through her shitty questions.
Real quick. Yes, Sherry, it does. I can't fucking believe it does.
Yeah, I was
How
right.
do
By the
you?
way.
Oh, wait, so there's only how many people in the
8.
Oh.
They took an event. They made the PBA Tour Finals a PBA title.
Yeah,
I mean,
you guys called me an asshole for saying that a couple weeks ago.
well, because
No, we were just
it's
saying it.
asinine. How can you grant somebody a championship?
Right.
Kudos to Kyle for winning his 10th title. I
Mhm.
absolutely love Kyle on television. He's great for the sport.
Oh, hell
He's
yeah.
a sensational bowler. And
Showman.
he knows how to win. He's a showman. He's absolutely everything that the sport needs. And he will be a Hall of Famer after he serves 20 years, if he serves 20 years. I hate that everybody keeps having to fucking talk about the Hall of Fame every time somebody wins now. Like, holy shit, he's in the Hall of Fame. All right, motherfucker, he's still in his mid-20s or early 30s.
Right.
He'll be in the Hall of Fame when he's 50. You can let him bowl his career first. But anyway, I can't believe that you give somebody their 10th title on an event that they qualified for through the season and only had to bowl 7 other guys.
That's like making the Super Slam a title. Pretty much the same thing.
And then for more insider information, the venue, I've heard, first off, anybody that watched the show, Don Barrett sliding the 10-pin over on that ring 10.
That was amazing.
Was almost as amazing to me as Chris Prather throwing 3 shots that the 10-pin fell forward on a flush hit.
All right,
That
so hold on.
is-
Let's go back. Let's for somebody who didn't see it, we're not playing spoiler alert because no one even knew it was on. So what
Okay.
happened? What did Troop do?
Don Barrett.
Or Barrett do? That's what I said. What is what?
Time out,
what
real quick, just because he's here. Craig, you're exact. I said right after I said the coverage they did on TV, I said I feel even worse for the Bowl TV guys because those guys, let's say the Masters, they're in there from fucking 6 a.m. until 9 p.m. every day. I mean,
which is true, but they still get to bounce around from, they have 90 different bowlers to deal with. These guys are literally talking about the same freaking 8 bowlers over and over again. But, and not that either one's any easier, but it's just, I think one's a little different, and that's not the point. What happened with Don Barrett and a 10-pin? He slid it to do what?
He threw a beautiful shot, left a ring and 10-pin where the 10-pin got hit, and it looked like it was going to fall. Perfect strike. And it got hit, and it just slid. Almost into the 8th
slid over
position.
to the 9th position or something,
or the 9th. Yeah, excuse me.
Yeah.
And Chris Prather, like usually when you slap a 10-pin, you see the 6-pin cut into it.
It always chops it out from under, and you'd see
or
it,
from the side.
It sweeps the leg almost.
Yeah, exactly. What's up, Kevbo? And love you too, Craig. Chuck is awesome. I love Chuck. But now, what's happening is the pin was actually catching the back of the 10-pin, and the 10-pin would fall forward on the deck on a apparent beautiful flush hit
3 times.
And I'm watching, and to me, it looked like Jacob couldn't even stand up. And that's when I got a text message from him during the first commercial break, and he told me, "I just don't understand if you're going to have the 8 greatest PBA players in your venue, how you can treat it like this." He said they were so sticky that
yes,
it was absolutely impossible to even attempt to execute a good shot.
And he's a big slider too, actually.
He runs fast
after release.
He's fast on the line.
Yeah,
I forgot his thing was waddle.
And think about it. When's the last time you saw EJ Tackett fall off balance or Belmo fall off balance?
Belmo was like a foot and a half from the fucking foul line. Yeah.
Yeah, it was.
I didn't, because I didn't know it was on, because nobody freaking even promoted the damn thing. So, but I get what you're saying, and I can check it out on YouTube.
It's very, very, very poor lane maintenance and approach maintenance. It's very, very sad.
I assume they all were probably talking about it. Like it was, because those guys are, they talk anyway. Like it's got to be, that must have been a hot topic there if there was a whole mic'd up segment.
Yeah,
what happened to Rob?
It was interesting.
His Popeye's orders in.
100%. Or I think he's texting his boss that he's going to be late to his Madden game.
Yeah, Madden 93.
Yeah.
I'm actually taping. I have a cassette player hooked up to my computer. I'm actually taping stuff off of my old cassette tapes, if you want to know.
You're making a mixtape?
Yeah, I'm making a mixtape.
She made me a mixtape?
I flipped over the cassette.
Use the 90
No,
minute.
nobody even knows what these are anymore. So.
Use the 90
Oh,
minute.
I
Use
sure
the 90
do.
minute one. So this way you fit more on there. You can
That's
fit a
exactly-
whole record on one side.
Remember like the
Answering-
180 ones? They're like, yeah, they're super expensive. Sorry.
No, it's all good. Answering Ricky's question, this was at the Angel of the Winds Casino Resort in
Okay.
in
Ted.
Washington. In Washington.
Yeah, you could hear the slot machines in the background. I'm sure that was not fun to any of the bowlers up there having to concentrate right here the whole fucking time. So, which I love the sound of slot machines. That could put me to
Me
sleep.
too. There's mine. The
yeah.
lights on.
Nice.
It needs service.
That's like, I feel like that's good sleeping material. Like that's like good background music.
Yeah, it's like white noise.
The noise machine.
It's awesome. I hit a hand pay on it, so I have to reset it with the key.
Nice. So I mean, let's talk about Kyle Troop. You mentioned how great he was for TV. He was on fire. Like he getting into the final match. I mean, he bowled decent. I mean, he had some trouble, but he was dead nuts on against Prather, and you got to give him credit for that. But I mean, the fact that he should have lost and not made it to the finals, like, and him actually making it through and getting pumped up and pointing to his tattoo that says "Never give up" and screaming at the camera, like, you're right. He's a showman. He's fantastic for the game. He obviously does our intro. We love Kyle Troop, but I felt bad for Prather. I thought Prather had a fantastic run. I was really pulling for him to win because he's such a nice guy. And I want to say publicly here that I don't want to say I gave him shit because I always preface things when I talk about him by saying he's a fantastic bowler, but I haven't fucking seen him all year, and he's in the tour finals. Well, he proved why he belonged there. And
he bowled for a major championship. He made it to the title match of a major.
True.
But
JP,
yes,
is someone ordering dinner in the background or something like that? I'm curious.
Steph, I don't. Is somebody ordering in the back? Rochelle's working. She's
Oh,
selling
gotcha.
She's always hustling, man.
I thought, that's good, man. Never stop the
If
hustle.
it's between 5 a.m. and 10:30 p.m., she's selling houses.
Right on, man.
Or
yeah, dude.
buying
The one you
them,
guys are in
or
right now?
flipping them, or she's doing this one. Quite possibly in a few months, we will be renting this one out, which would be a great spot.
See the Mayflower guy just carrying boxes in the back, like, oh, sorry.
Because I'm finally going back out there next year, so I need a place to crash. Help me, that's all.
Steph, I don't know who makes the decisions on the venue. I've never been to Angel of the Winds, so I don't know. Craig says it is a nice venue. We've been there several times and bowled an event there a few years ago with no approach issues. So apparently in the last few years, their maintenance has gone down because, but other than that, I thought the shows themselves were enjoyable. I'm still a little bit confused as to why they would consider this a PBA title. To me, that would be like, this sounds horrible, but it's actually not. Like the Chris Paul Celebrity Invitational. There's 8 guys at that too, and they're all teamed up with somebody who basically doesn't know how to bowl, unless T.O. and Mookie Betts are bowling. But could you imagine if the CP3 Invitational was a PBA title? That's how I feel about this. This is like when Brunswick held the Brunswick Bowling Skins game. It's like giving a title away to there's 4 guys bowling.
If it's a PBA sponsored or sanctioned event, make them all a fucking title. Why not?
It's so strange to me. It's and look, do what you got to do. That's great. Kyle would have gotten 10 titles regardless of this one or not.
True.
But yeah, I don't understand it. I'll never understand.
No, I get it. No,
I guess I would compare it saying like when there's a Pro-Am in golf, right? Is that considered a PGA win if you win the Pepsi Pro-Am? I don't know.
I want to say the Pebble Beach Pro-Am might be.
No, that's a different thing because they don't count the aggregate score though. They count their own score. They have their aggregate, but they also have the pros still playing for the title. And there's it's a stacked field. There's 140 golfers in there. Do you think Kyle thinks there's a little asterisk next to that one, like the McGuire record?
I think Kyle was probably shocked to find out it was a PBA title.
Oh, he might not have known either.
He may not have known.
Holy
but either way, I think I'd be like, oh, cool. Next tournament.
On you go, though.
Jeff.
Right.
The Lucy Bono strikeout breast cancer event is undoubtedly one of the greatest events of the year. It massive amounts of teams. Every single Tom, Dick, and Harry is at that event, and I think that the Lucy should be a PBA title, 100%. I don't think that you should say, let's say Liz Johnson wins with Jacob Buttriff. I don't think Liz Johnson should get the credit for winning a PBA title. I think she should receive the ladies' title, and I think Jacob should receive the men's title. Whereas, like, Kelly Kulick earned the title of Tournament of Champions. Liz Johnson almost earned the title when she made the show and lost to Tommy Jones in the title match.
And there should be a movie made about that. Like how that even got. I mean, they got a Bobby Riggs versus Billie Jean King movie. Like they got. How should that literally was the first time in sports history that a woman won a men's event? Like why that? How is that not a movie?
It should be a movie, and confirmed by. Confirmed by Stephanie and Craig, yes. So the Lucy does distribute a PBA title to the men and to a PWBA
we have the
title.
best statisticians on this show, I'm telling you.
We have people that run the industry tuning in, which means we must be doing something right at some point. But shit, anytime I see somebody in there that knows what they're talking about, I'm definitely going to read it. Read everything that comes in there. Learn a lot. I learn more on this show than I dish out.
That's true, and you know a lot. How many teams are in the regular PBA doubles tournament? And that's considered a title, right?
Oh, that's a good question. Probably around 60-ish, 60 to 80.
Okay, so it's quite a lot then. Okay,
I would say, yeah.
So I'll just try to compare it to, like, you know, the tour finals.
Christian Bale.
Smaller field.
No, Kermit the Frog would play Chris Barnes.
No, Harold Ramis, Kermit the Frog, Al Michaels, they all have the same kind of voice. Like Christian Bale, because he can be real whiny.
Harold Ramis is dead, so
good for you. That's what we need. Like, you know, oh, you won. Oh, good for you. Okay,
stupid.
I'd like to see Will Ferrell play Chris Barnes.
Wait, what is?
I think he'd do a good job.
No, Will Ferrell could be Chris Barnes.
We're not doing a semi-pro thing. We're not doing that. It's gonna be.
Come on.
I'm trying to think.
Jeremy Renner.
No, come on, Jesus, guys.
Really, dude?
Jeremy Renner is so cool and badass.
Well, that was the joke of it. It's kind of like, you know, it's to add some credence to it. Like she's beating like this badass guy, not freaking Kermit the Frog.
Yeah, I agree with Taryn. Will Ferrell should play everyone and everything. I love
real quick. Ken says, how do you feel about the ball softness issue due to today's oils being they are mixed of different? What does that say?
Rob, roll that up.
All right, let me throw it up there for you.
What candy? The bastard stole it.
Mr. Ken here.
Because I've used an oil on mine and it definitely softened them, but I thought it was water-based and not a different lubricant.
I don't know if the ball softness is contributed to the mixture of oils being used. I'm not on board with the fucking softness train. And I'm defending not only Hammer and Brunswick, I'm defending Storm. I'm defending Storm when they took away those 6 awesome bowling balls day one of the Masters.
Oh, yeah, we bitched about that. Absolutely.
Yeah,
we spent a whole show on that.
But no, I don't. I think that I don't fucking know, man. It's so fucking stupid to me. It's because they're not like 62 hardness and everything else is 75. Some of them get softer when you use them more. So they created a rule that prevented that from happening. We had to drill fucking new purple hammers with pink pins instead of green pins. And I'm sure in 2 more years, the pin will be a different color then too.
Do you think John Holmes had a problem with softness after using it so many times?
Who the hell is John Holmes?
What?
Oh, Jesus Christ. All right, that wraps it up for the show this week.
So, by the way,
is it somebody that should play Chris Barnes in the movie?
So Kent from Real Genius was also the guy who played Cole from Bachelor Party. So in a way, he kind of played the guy that almost got Tony Katane, or he was the ex of Tony Katane. So Chris Barnes cannot be played rather. Now, if he dressed like Kent from Real Genius with the turtleneck and the glasses, then we got it. And the big high lip smile. Ricky Smith is the one who mentioned it. I know movies, especially from the 80s.
I do too, but not those.
Yeah, that's all right. No, Real Genius had Val Kilmer. It was a super awesome movie. The Lady.
Actually, was a very good movie. I saw that in the theaters as a kid.
But And
Yeah, they're
Laszlo,
good.
everybody knows Laszlo. Anyway, but that's matter of fact, a guy named Butch Laszlo died jumping over the thing in Vegas. That
sorry, Butch.
crosswalk in 1996, I think it was.
Oh, the
God.
fountains at Caesars?
No, that big crosswalk. It's like a freaking
Crosswalk.
100-foot high crosswalk.
Oh,
You
yeah,
jumped
yeah.
over it, and wind blew. But anyway, Laszlo was in genius. Love how conversations go like that. He mentions real genius, but the guy was also in Bachelor Party. He was the guy when they were like, "There's a nice moon out tonight," and his ass cheeks were up against the window. No one remembers that part. All right,
Spinning out of control.
we needed that.
Yeah, we did. Got to bring it
You
back
know what
on
you should
track.
do? You should link up the Folgers commercial because that was the original.
Johnny has nothing to say now. Like,
No, he froze. That's all.
completely
Yeah.
But the
speechless.
TV
Like,
flickered.
I'm just gonna say hi to Sonny.
Yeah.
Says it was a JP
Oh, hi,
weekend
Sonny.
at my house. Oh, that's right. I was at Sonny's house this time last year.
It's always
we got
sunny
to
in
visit.
Vegas.
She had this great drink. She has a specific kind. I don't know if it's a beer or a malted beverage or some kind of hybrid.
White
it might be
Claw.
something. It might be something new.
Well, the J is
But-
silent.
Or like jogging. But it was a
think it was
delicious
called
drink.
heroin.
Stop going. You have to go back up because I can't read the rest of what it says. Last year we got you.
sorry,
Oh,
I'm
it's not
sorry.
your fault. It's everybody
Roll,
else.
roll back up, Rob.
I'm
I want to
trying.
read what she wrote. Come on.
Here we go.
Here we go. We got you to visit and loved Green Week last year. I guess she's referencing that I brought weed because I don't know what Green Week is. But happy for you in Vegas as well. The Scotts, I'm assuming they're related to the guys you're talking about from those movies, asked if you were arriving soon, and you all rock. Thanks, Sonny. Tell the Scotts
we all Dwayne.
that I don't know who they are, but I'm sorry. And hello. And Troy's laughing at me. Apparently, I'm supposed to know who this guy is, and I don't.
I'll send you a message. I'll send you a link in our private
What guy?
chat.
The guy
sounds good.
Kent from Real Genius still, or? Are we
Yeah, I
talking
never
about-
saw
No,
that
that's-
movie.
yeah,
Is
but
that a
Bachelor
movie?
Party you've seen, right? Tom Hanks' finest.
I have
Oh
not
my
seen
JP,
Bachelor Party.
I would never steer you wrong on anything ever. Please
I
don't
know.
go to the
All
gym
right, so
tonight
now I got
and
something
go
to
get
watch.
Bachelor Party, please.
Did you see Boogie Nights,
Okay.
Johnny?
Yes, Dirk Diggler.
That's exactly who he was playing. Was John Holmes-ish character. So, yeah.
Okay.
And
All
nothing
right.
to do with
$5
Kent from
foot
Real
long.
Genius.
All right.
Gotcha.
I have seen Weird Science.
Well, who has it?
Another great movie, actually. Yes.
Well,
You
apparently,
told me you
the
were
way my
combing
mind-
your hair, Gary. I never saw it.
What else we got?
I think we're done now.
Already? Shit. I mean, great, but shit.
Yeah.
I don't know how to segue from.
More will unfold with the USB-C or with the PBA urethane ban hardness testing, whatever the fuck it is. But
I've never failed that test, by the way.
we're gonna have to wait and see what happens. I got nothing else
I
for
got
you guys
nothing else
tonight.
either.
I did not bowl this week, so I didn't miss any stairs and I didn't bowl any 120s.
Mike Wise says, "Ask your pops about John Holmes."
All right. I can't believe it. This
Should you?
like,
Wait,
had
wait.
you
Should
guys
you ask your dad about John Holmes? Like, that doesn't sound right either.
why? What's he gonna say?
I don't know. Like, he knows him. He shook his hand. The guy died like the most ferocious
He
death.
probably
of, like,
did
STDs.
actually know him. I
Like,
wouldn't be
don't know.
surprised. Your dad knew everybody back in the day, so
My dad is an encyclopedia. He just can't remember what he ate for dinner last night. That's all. Everything else he's still good at.
we got to get him back on the show.
Anyway.
By the way, it's been
Yeah, sounds good. He's down at Bowl Expo. Oh, yeah, that's the other thing that's happening
There
right
we
now.
go.
Is
oh, Ball Expo. I knew you were going to bring that up.
Yeah, Bowl Expo's in Florida at a really, really nice venue this year, and it's every bowling advocate's playground. It's Disney World for a few days. You get to see all the new products, get the best deals if you're a shop owner, and even bowling proprietors for larger capital purchases. There's good events, there's good food. You meet a lot of great people, get some autographs, have some more intimate time with the pros in the booths. And yeah, Bowl Expo always does a nice job. It's nice to see them in a beautiful venue that they're in Florida right now.
Was he invited there? I'm assuming.
My dad is down there at Bowl Expo. He's there signing autographs in the booth and
And he
things
still
along those
drives
lines.
that whole freaking way.
Yeah,
Nice.
yeah.
Nice. That's a long
Wow.
drive.
He's
That's a long drive.
yeah, I know.
That's just, I
Yeah.
mean,
But I mean, my dad does too. My dad's old school too. He's 70s.
No. I get
It's
like
just-
if I gotta drive to Maryland from Ochoaville, it's not bad. Even if I gotta drive within 7 hours, that I'm okay with that. It's when the clock is gonna strike the same time that I'm still not there. If I leave at midnight and it's noon and I'm still freaking 7 hours away, I'm pissed.
there's something about old guys that do it. Like my uncle Jack lives
But
in
I'm sure
Florida.
he's
And he
also
visits us in
like
Connecticut, and
he's got
he
pals along the way. Like he's like, all right, I'm gonna stop here. I'm gonna stop in Mooresville and go check out the guy who hooked me up at the bowling alley at one
What's up,
time. I don't
Keegan?
remember his name.
You guys also got to remember
There you go.
with
Ricky
my
does it.
dad, with the amount of time that my dad's been on the road, my dad's got a friend to stay with
That's literally what I just said.
True.
anywhere. Did
He
you?
did, he
I
did,
was reading
actually.
the comments.
I'll
That's what I
look
was
at
saying. I was like,
Because I see Chris Monroy.
I was
in
like,
here,
he's
and
like
not
he's like the
usually here.
pencil.
What's up,
He's like,
Chris?
you've got a friend in Pennsylvania. Well, JP does, of course. And then I know he's got that dude in Mooresville because they hooked me up one time,
Yeah.
and I was there one time, and they were with my family, and my father made a comment. He's like, your brother's been living here for 3 years, doesn't know anybody. You made one phone call, and you got 20 friends over here. What the hell's going on?
Our trips across the country were always pretty similar. Like when we would drive to Vegas together, we would take a short first day and drive into Ohio, and we would stay with Jim and Kathy Mueller. Jim is gone, and a former announcer for the Cleveland Browns as well as NASCAR. But Jim was my dad's closest friend for a very long time. We would stop there. We would play golf. We would eat. We'd get up. We would drive to St. Louis and stay at Bo Burton's house. Had a full gym in his basement. He lived on the 8th hole of the golf course that in this gated community in the St.
You
Louis
son
area.
of a bitch.
You mother-
son of
The
a
third
bitch.
day we would drive to Albuquerque. We would stay with Gary Skidmore, go bowling in his bowling alley. I mean, road trips to me, being in the car that long, they're very, very fun because you get to
Well,
experience.
this is like, yeah,
the
you're going to
country.
amusement parks every day almost. I mean, it's a
You
you're not in
stayed
a
at Bo
hotel.
Burton's house, you bastard.
Yeah, I
So
sure
jealous.
did. I was, the 4 kids, Katrina, Nikki, Nelson, and Brett. I think the 2 girls were there, and I believe Brett was there. I didn't see the Nikki or Nelson Jr. or Nelson the Third was not there.
Picture
but-
this, Ocho. He's playing fucking Super Mario Brothers with
Michael J.
Fox. Yeah, he's fucking sleeping at Bo Burton's house.
Plays
Randy
golf
Pierce
with
is
Ocho.
breaking his
I mean,
fucking
like
bed.
this guy's
I
got the
mean,
life of Riley here.
yeah, such a fucking tough life. I'm telling you.
It was fun, man. It's definitely one of the things that drives me crazy with the new life. I mean, if I could, I would probably go back out on tour simply because I want to travel. I want to get back in my car with my 2 suitcases and travel to different cities.
And have traveling buddies too. Like they all travel together and room
have
up.
traveling buddies, but be around fans that are still into bowling that would like to learn something from me that I have at least knowledge of. And
Oh, but that's
it's
fulfilling
getting to that
too, though.
point
That's
where-
the thing. I mean, it's so each time there's something to look forward to. You're not going to one place, staying in a dingy hotel, going, "Boy, I hope I make a check." No, you're actually like bouncing around and around, and it's fulfilling for you because you're also doing something for yourself.
Definitely. And what's great about it is a lot of times, man, in the smallest, most random cities, you meet some of the most wonderful people.
True.
There was this little shit hole in the wall bowling alley that we bowled a regional at. I lost to Ryan Schaefer in the second round. I can't remember what the hell state it was in. I want to say it was in like a section of New York that was very rural, like very cow
I've been to a
pasture.
bunch
Not
of those, like Oneonta.
Something like that.
You're
Yeah, I
talking
want to say it was.
upstate there.
It wasn't like West. It wasn't like West Haverstraw where Danielle McEwen is. It was, but anyway, just the nicest people in that bowling center. A little old rundown wooden bowling alley. 2 really sweet bartenders invited us all back for a barbecue after the tournament. Like, you meet a lot of great people when you get the opportunity to travel, and especially in bowlers know bowlers. So if you're ever in a bowling alley in pretty much any state, a bowler will recognize you, and it makes for at least something to do in the city.
Right.
People are so willing to say, "Hey, this is a great burger place," or "Stay at this hotel because it's a better." This is a bad part of the town. You get to learn more. That's why whenever I would go overseas, the first person I would ever call is Tim Mack, is because he's been everywhere a million times. I know what to do in each country.
Well, Jeff said you can stay with him in
Troy,
Tampa. And you can stay with Troy.
we'll have to talk about that, buddy, because there's still an off chance that I'm considering coming back to the East Coast. I'm like this close. And I'm thinking about, but like this time for me, Just I want to be back near my bowling family. I want to be back with Steph, with Sonny, with Troy. I want to commit to bowling tournaments on the weekends. I want to be around people who have similar qualities and loves that I do. And it's the Leaning Tower of Pisa keeps going a little bit more this direction.
Can I ask you what brought you that? Because a couple weeks ago you're talking about how much bowling you not hate bowling, but I mean you lost your passion, but now you kind of want to get back into
because
it.
It's
so. Just curious.
Because of the people. Because of the people.
I don't think he
anybody
said it was
that
bowling.
is a bowler.
It was his relationships that he made
Evelyn
along the
wanted
way.
to say hi to everybody.
It was the camaraderie that wasn't. It wasn't. It was just bowling in particular. The camaraderie, the people. He said it was everything. Everything he got, he got from bowling. That's his
right.
Yeah, and not to mention just. I don't care where you're from, but the truth of the matter is the warmth of East Coast people. It's very different.
People definitely don't say that often. But it was
people stick together and migrate around together, and sometimes you just want to go.
Where everybody knows your name.
Everybody knows your name.
Well, that's everywhere for you. So
right.
Yeah, but they don't make them like they do with that
True.
Group. There's a batch of them in the St. Louis area. That would have been like that's number 2 for me, but my heart and distance from my parents getting a little bit older. My sister's married, putting an addition on her house. I'm sure she'll be pregnant soon. Those are the things that I'm like almost 40 now that I'm ready to be around.
And really Ocho misses you. I mean, let's be honest.
Yeah, seriously, I'd have somebody to hang out with all the time. I just wish you didn't live in like fucking Keensburg's bad child.
I'm in Ochoville, man. I'm in my own Ochoville.
Oh yeah.
All right.
Anyway, it's definitely it's definitely a possibility. I'm thinking maybe one more summer here.
Yeah.
I have a golf date with Shay Bittenbender and a couple of guys in Mesquite at the end of September, so it'll probably be after that. Because honestly, October and November back home is still some pretty nice months to be home.
True. No, that's true. I miss like my old stomping grounds in Connecticut and Boston and upstate New York. I used to go to a lot in Rhode Island. But I don't know if I'd want to live there again. It's too I don't want to get political, but too expensive for one. I'll just say that. But I like it down south. Going back northeast is just I don't know if I'd want to do it again, but I love living in the south. It's
you're in a good spot where you're at.
Yeah, for sure. And it's way cheaper. Wicked cheaper. So Ocho's got to attend to the kids, so we're just kind of
sounds good. It was a good show. We'll keep everybody informed on, and obviously everybody will be informed because everybody's informed in the social media age, but we'll talk about it as more goes on. But per usual, thanks to everybody for being here. If you get a chance before you leave, hit the like button. It helps us. And you can find me on Twitter at JPJR07, that guy at the DR Ocho, and that guy at Rad Rob Gaming.
And also, if you are not on our YouTube channel, you can subscribe to our YouTube channel, Straight Up 5 with Johnny Petraglia Jr. Has all of our past live streams, plus our interview with your father on there as well, the legend. So Straight Up 5 with Johnny Petraglia Jr. Just type up Straight Up 5 podcast on YouTube and subscribe and like our videos and share. Tell your friends. Also on Apple Podcasts and Spotify, Stitcher, iHeartRadio, all your major podcast apps. If you want to listen to this in all of our archives that were not live here on Facebook or YouTube, just subscribe to Straight Up 5, any podcast app, and leave us a 5-star review on iTunes. That would also help us get through the tricky algorithms. Thank you, everybody, for showing up here. Thank you so much.
And thanks for stopping by, San Diego.
For Johnny Petraglia Jr. and the great Ocho, I am Rad Rob. We'll see you next week right here on Straight Up 5.